All right. So, requirement B, calculate the change in profit. If all the power division's sales were made to external customers and the air division purchased all its motors externally, now you've got to answer the question according to what has been said. Now the condition is that all the power division sales were made to external customers. If you look at power, they can make 250,000. That's their capacity. The maximum that the external want is 230. So they will sell all the 230 that the market wants. Here, the other 20,000, they will not be able to have a market for it because the thing is, Air also buys all of its items externally. Hottcule board needs to resolve a disagreement between the two divisions. The MD of Hottcule Co's power division believes that the transfer price of 100 distorts measurement of his division's performance. He believes that the sale price of motors to the air division should be the same as to external customers, I think 140. However, the MD of the air division believes that she should be able to buy motors from an external foreign supplier at 125 if she is charged 140 by the power division. So if you insist on charging me 140, please, I got a foreign supplier who can deliver it to me at 125. Hottcule board wishes to assess the profitability of the current arrangements and how much profits will change if the air division bought all the motors it needed externally and the power division sold all its production to external customers. Well, there could be different ways of answering this question. Let me choose the way of re-preparing the profit statement under the new condition. You can actually copy this in the exam, highlight and select, select and highlight, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now, figures will change. The own fixed cost will not change. The fixed cost will be the same. The transfer price does not change it. But very importantly, now we're going to have another condition given to you. Power will sell how many units internally? None. Because you have been told that the condition now is power sells everything to external customers and air buys everything it needs from a foreign supplier. So they are going to have some 20,000 units left unsold because of the 250,000 capacity, the market wants only 230,000 at a superior price of 140. So their sales become that, and Air will continue to sell all its 120,000 air conditioning units for $400 each. Transfer in cost, you see I linked the cell, so it has changed. This is how you use a computer to your advantage in the exams. Let's check the own variable cost. Now, power spends 45 on materials, 40 on labor, 5 on distribution cost because they are selling externally. They spend this times the number of units sold externally. So they are selling 230,000 units externally. Now, let's get this. Am I going to do 230,000 or do 250,000? Let's apply some logic here. If my capacity is 250, the external market wants 230, and I know I'm not going to produce for air, then my production will be based on 230,000. Is that correct assumption to make? The transfer pricing system is changing.
No, sir.
Say again.
No, sir, that's not correct assumption.
Okay, tell me about it.
Because they already have manufactured the 250,000 units, which is their capacity.
So have they
So the question,
have they already manufactured it?
The 250,000 units.
Yeah.
So if they are selling only the 230, the 20,000 become extra cost.
Oh, is that so? Okay, that's a good point raised. But I don't think they have already manufactured it. I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. I may be incorrect. That's fine. But let me explain myself. I am told that the current annual production capacity for motors is 250,000. I am told of a new arrangement. If all the power division sales were made to external customers, and the air division purchased all its motors externally, is the power division producing at full capacity, or they're going to produce only 230 and sell the 230? I don't know, but I think that if I was the manager of the power division, knowing this condition now, I will not exhaust my capacity. I won't produce the 250. I know I'll have 20,000 left and so I'm going to produce only 230,000 and sell all the 230,000 and I'm done. That's what I will do. But look, we are not here to score 100%. Do this, and in case that is not the assumption held by the examiner, you might not be losing more than 1 mark. You might be losing just about half a mark. Let me finish and give you another reason I think the way I'm thinking. So 45 plus 40 plus 5 times 230,000. I'll give you a second reason I'm thinking like that. If you spend $5 on distribution, then if you are thinking the way you are thinking, then this is what the calculation we should do. We should end up saying we produce 250,000, one at 45 plus 40. But when we are distributing, you don't distribute what you have not sold. I mean, did I say it right? You don't incur distribution costs on what you have not sold. So you are going to say the 230,000 only sold. Those ones will incur extra 5. So you're going to do 250,000 times 45 plus 40. Then you come and add it to 230,000 times 5. You're going to do that. I guess that makes it a bit more complex. So let's do it my way. And when we are done, we compare answers our answers to the examiner solution, and then we discuss. I think let's do it that way. What it means is that I am not coming to the classroom with a prepared answer. Let's continue to think together. All right. So I will do it that way. Now, let me tell you something about professional examinations. If you are confused at this point what to do, when you are done, you can just state an assumption under your work. It's professionalism. The assumption is that because of the current arrangement, power division will not make or will not exhaust its full capacity. Will make only 230,000 units and spend on that. All right. Transferee will spend the same 70 plus 80 150 on its 120,000 units. It won't change. Fixed cost won't change. So I think where I have gotten to now, computer-based exams, advantage, everything automatically updates by itself. So I got a new profit here. I can see that with that arrangement, Power's profit has gone up from 4.550 million to 7.750 million. And transferee's profit has gone 11.8 up to 23.8. Oh, no, here it will change. Don't you think it will change? Now, they are not buying the 120,000. They are not, sorry, they are spending the 150 on the 120. All right. What has changed here? Their profit has gone up too much for me. Their profit has gone up too much for me. Own variable cost, that 40 plus 45 plus 40 plus 5, 230. Okay. Own fixed cost, this will not change. We said that already. 150 times that. Oh, you know what? Great. I've missed out on something because the profit has gone up too much. See, they are spending variable costs of 150. That is 70 plus 80. But the motors that they are no longer getting from the power division, I didn't account for it. This time around, rather than having a transfer in cost, they are having motors from external supplier. They are having motors from external supplier. They argue that they can get these motors from external supplier at 125 at $125. So they are going to buy all those 120,000 motors for their 120,000 ACs times 125. Yeah, I missed out on this. Sales is that now this 15,000 becomes cost of the group. So when you buy from outside, all that money you pay to the foreign supplier becomes a cost to the company. But when you buy within, the money you spend is not a cost to the company because you're only paying another person within. That's the logic. So this becomes that. So profit goes down to 16,550,000, which is the same as Power's profit plus S profit. 16,550,000. Yeah. So with this new arrangement, Power's profit goes up from 4.550 to 7,750. You know why? Because they are selling to people at 140, everything they can sell at 140 instead of 100. But S profit goes down from 11.8 to 8.8. The net effect is that the overall profit, 16,350, comes up to 16,550. Okay, so that is on the assumption that Power will not exhaust its capacity. Now, was it Tahiru who said Power has produced everything, so their own variable cost will be on everything? Was it Tahiru? Or somebody else? If that is the case, okay, I've seen the chat box that he will say, yes, you're the one. That's fine. If that's the case, then I'm going to say the own variable cost of power will be like this. Production units, the assumption is that they are producing all 250,000, but that means that they would have some 20,000 not sold. Cost, variable cost per unit is on all those 250, they will spend 45 on materials, 40 on labor to produce them. And they also spend $5 to distribute them. How do you do that calculation? I don't see the $5 being spent on the 20,000 units and sold. That's what makes it a bit complex. 45, 45. I see the 45 plus 40 plus 5. First of all, I see the 45 plus 40 being spent to produce all the 250,000. Then I see another 5 being spent on as an extra cost, being spent to produce the 230,000 actually sold. In other words, I don't see the 5 being spent on those 20,000 units not sold. So I see something like this plus that. I'm sure another way I can do this is to say, I'll take all the 250,000 and say we are spending $85 on all of them. But $5 will not be sold, will not be spent. The $5 will not be spent on the 20,000 not sold, for that matter, not distributed. So I'll take that 100,000. So I should do this minus that. Oh, I've gotten something that's also a bit different. It's making it complex for me. But look, I don't know if you have an idea, but it's making it a bit complex for me. At this point in the exams, this is not my problem anyway. I'll finish off my work of all the 7 marks here. If that is the only problem, I can still score 6/7 or even 6.5/7. Therefore, I'm not going to be worried about that anyway. Final answers are not marked. It's the build up to the answers that are marked. It's in section A that only final answers are marked. So in section A and B, only final answers are marked. In section C, the examiner says enough of final answers. Final answers are not marked, but the build up to the final answers, they are marked. So I'm not going to be worried that my 750,000 may not be correct. I'm not going to be worried. When we finish, we're going to compare with the examiner solution and see what comes up there. Then we will all learn from there. Now, and assess. Well, at that point, even if I'm totally correct with those numbers, I will not score the 7 because I've not yet assessed. Assess whether the situation represents the optimal outcome for Hottcule Co. Well, for Hottcule Co, a profit of 16,350 has gone up to 16,550. A profit of 16,350 has gone up to a profit of 16,550. Old transfer pricing system profit. new transfer pricing system profit. I see increase in profit. To be 200,000 as a percentage. I see that to be 200,000 as a percentage of the old. Well, profit has increased by $200,000. That is 1.2%. Hence, this represents the optimal solution for Hottcule Co. Now, probably the examiner solution might say this is not the optimal solution. That is because in the examiner solution, maybe the profit has gone down. Now, own figure rule, you get all the marks available for the assessment. Even if your answer is at variance to the examiner's own. Why? Because your assessment is based on your number. So if you didn't get full marks for the number, you don't come and suffer here again. So try to benefit from the own figure rule by writing assessments, narratives based on your own answer. So that if there's any 1 mark or 2 marks for this assessment, you score all of it and add it to your calculation marks. All right. So this is what we have done. Let me just check this again. 230,000 sold at 140. Okay. 45 has been spent on the 230,000. Own fees cost is that. 400 have been sold. I'm looking at the formula bar talking to you now. Then they bought 120,000 motors from outside for 125. Then they spent 150 producing or processing the 120,000. Their own fees cost is that. Okay, total cost is that. This 24. This is that added. Okay, looks correct. And we will leave it here. We'll compare answers with the examiner solution anyway. Any questions, guys? That's 7 marks. Now, for 9 plus 7, 16, so this should be 4. Evaluate the problems of allowing the 2 divisions to negotiate the transfer price rather than have the transfer price imposed by senior management. 4 marks. If I can get 2 points, I've passed. And if only the examiner, the marking team, agree with my 2 points. Do you see any problems of allowing the 2 divisions to negotiate the transfer price rather than having head office interfere? Problems of negotiated transfer prices. I can see delays in reaching consensus. I don't know if you agree with me. There will be longer periods of trying to negotiate because everybody would like to have the transfer price leaning towards what they would like to see. So you can support that by saying, when you're writing, by saying that, for instance, the air division currently can source it from outside for 125. It will be insisting to get it at not more than 125, whereas the power division also be insisting on not selling at below 140. This can delay the decision-making process and cause further problems for the organization. Problems. Thinking. Well, it may lead to conflicts between divisional heads. It may lead to conflicts between divisional heads, especially when it is the case that the transferee needs it badly and cannot get it elsewhere, but the transferor insists on a certain minimum transfer price. It can lead to conflict between them. What else? Problems of allowing negotiations to happen. Negotiated transfer prices could, or let me put this, are likely to have the transfer price going in favor of the divisional manager who stands at advantage, or who has greater negotiation skills. Think about that. Does it make sense to you? So it's going to be a winner takes it all situation. If I have the bigger power, negotiation skills also, I may have the transfer price going in my favor. That will create problems between divisional heads. Unresolved differences may now require valuable senior management time to resolve. So rather than senior management spending time thinking about strategic decisions, they may now have to spend time to solve problems like petty quarrels in the office. You don't expect senior management to spend valuable time trying to solve petty quarrels. If you guys have petty quarrels in the office, you are wasting everybody's time. One person is not talking to another person. We expect senior management to come and be resolving these issues when they should be spending time on strategic matters. We don't want that. All right. I'll continue to think 4 marks. I'll try to get as many points as I can get. But don't overdo it. Like I always tell you, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Any more points somebody got? I think whilst talking about unresolved differences, something came to my mind again about unresolved differences. And yeah, I got it. Unresolved differences can often lead to dysfunctional decisions. I can even cite the example in Hottcule and say that, for instance, the 20,000 unpurchased items from external market of the power motors could have been bought by the air division if they were able to agree something. But because they did not resolve differences, the power division will continue to just not use its full capacity or produce at full capacity, spend money, but cannot sell. So that is dysfunctional decision because everybody is acting in their own interest and the company suffers or the company's performance is harmed at that point. So yeah, so unresolved differences can often lead to dysfunctional decisions, and I'll support it with an example from the scenario. I've got 5 points. That is too much for 4 marks. So I'm not going to spend all of my time working on that requirement. I'll bring out my best 4. Maybe if I'm not sure of 1, I'll make it 5. There's no negative marking. So the marking team can give me mark for the 4 that are good. All right. If somebody has an idea, you can still bring it up. Other than that, I want to check quickly about something quickly about the calculations we did. So I want to end this exam. So navigate to the very last question. Let the computer see you as you have read everything by scrolling down and right and down and up. Next, it takes me to the item review screen. End exam, yes. End exam, yes. Exit. And mark PM past and practice exams. No, pre-September 2023 mock exam, self-mark. Only the objectives will be marked. Next to question 31. So click here to to see the sample answer. You can do Control P for print to save. Final answers are not marked, but let me just check it from there. Okay, so the examiner has rearranged it, but that's okay. The examiner has actually turned it the other way around and brought the transferee first, but that's all right. So transferee 11.8 million profit, transferor 4550. That's right. So total profit of the division 16,350. That's fine. He worked in thousands of dollars. So that's it. Question 32. That was the one I wanted to confirm something from here. Click here to see the sample answer. Control P, print it for you or save it for you. Great. Saving occurs because power is now producing. So my assumption is right. Power is now producing 230,000 motors and not 250. So it will not make sense. Yeah, so that's confirmed. It will not make sense to use all your capacity when you know your brother will not buy from you. The question Bathco has a small twist to this one. So it will be good to practice that also. 750,000. $750,000, and then the other guy 8.8, sending to 16,550. Right. So the response is that they say, however, this will not represent the optimal solution for Hottcule Co as a whole, as the power division has spare capacity of 20,000 units. If the power division was to sell 20,000 units to the air division at a price below 125, but above the variable cost of 85, the profits of both divisions will increase, and Hottcule Co's profit overall will further increase by another amount. All right, fine. That's a very deep thought by the examiner. I didn't think about that. That's excellent. But friends, you are not supposed to think like that at that level before you pass the exams. Let me explain that answer to you. What the examiner is saying is that it does not represent the optimal solution because power still has 20,000 capacity not used. In my answer, we said, or in our answer, we said that it represented the optimal solution because overall profit has increased by 200,000. We will be marked correct on that assessment because that is the truth. But the examiner is going beyond that to say that, okay, if they had produced the extra 20,000 and sold at 125, and this 125 is definitely above the variable cost of producing the extra 20,000, then profits would have gone up by, what's the variable cost per unit in power? In power, variable cost, oh, the question is not here. Who remembers powers? Okay, it's here. Powers variable cost per unit, 45 plus 40. So if they don't sell external, they don't spend the 5. So 85. So you see, they would have been selling the extra 120,000 for 125 and spend variable cost of 85 and be left with $40 on the extra 20,000 units. They would have been making 800,000 more profit added to the 200,000 we got. So because they would have earned another 800,000, that represents that. So not doing that represents not doing the optimal solution. Let me say that again. If they had done the 20,000 extra and sold at 125, they would have got the profit of 200,000 would have gone up by another 800,000. So what they are doing now, not to produce and do that transfer pricing system, does not represent the optimal solution. Well, that's the examiner's thinking, and I think that is a very deep thought. I didn't think about that, but that's all right. If you write this, you pass, and you pass very well. All right, when I'm sending the notes to you, I'm going to make a comment about what the examiner's solution said, that it does not represent the optimal solution. And I'll compare so that it can be compared to what we said that it represents the optimal solution. Our answer was supported, so it is correct. If it was not supported, it will not be correct. Yeah, somebody wanted to say something.
Yes, I was saying what the examiner was saying. I was also looking at it as an opportunity cost. That was why I came up with what I was saying. Because since they have the 250 capacity, they're going by the rule of producing only the 230. It's as a result of the agreement that they should sell externally and these people should sell internally.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they could have sold to the assistant of those units.
Those extra 20,000.
In all ways, if they leave that capacity, it's an opportunity cost to the decision they took.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's fine. That's great. But then it would have meant that your variable cost calculation here will be different, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it will be different, and it will be different from what the examiner also had. But that's not a big deal. You still get it right. The only thing is that I'm still thinking how I was messing up here with this. The extra 5 against what or not against what? You might struggle there. And as far as exam technique is concerned, you are only fighting for some half mark or 1 mark, and that will not be good for exam technique purposes. Friends, let's check out and come back. Time is restricted, it's constrained. Let's check out and come back, and we can make any additional comments to that again, and then move on to the next activity.